Welcome to the Joshua Morales Podcast.
We are good to go. You ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, so we are here at Teddys BBQ in Weslaco, Texas. I'm with Joel. Joel, tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little bit of background, how you got into this. We were talking off camera about you were completely doing something different. Politics.
Yeah, politics is one of them.
One of them. So tell me about your experience leading up to here.
Yeah, so I grew up in the valley here in Weslaco, and you know I was always around fire. It was always barbecuing on the weekends with my dad and family. There was always a special occasion we were celebrating, even if there wasn't a special occasion. So grew up around that and always gravitated towards cooking. So when I went off to college, my aunt bought me a pit, and it was just like a tiny pit from Academy, one that could fit on my patio. And I started cooking, ribs, chicken, cheap stuff. And then from there, we started kind of inviting people over every time the Aggies played because I went to school at A&M. So that's kind of where I started my first initial cooks and stuff, but it wasn't until I moved to Austin after I graduated, and when I was there I was doing an internship, like I said, in politics, and always kind of trying to go back to cooking in my patio, but then in 2013, when my internship was about to be over, we got a magazine in the mail from Texas Monthly, and it was the top 50 joints in the state. So we said, you know what, let's go visit the ones that are in Austin. So from there, it was let's go visit the ones that are in East Texas, West Texas, and then we even came back down to the valley, and there was some in the valley that we went to, Vedas in Brownsville, and a few others. And from the travels and everything, from there just kind of sparked an interest of, what, let's see if we can do this, or let's see if I can get a job in barbecue. But before that, we moved we bought our own house in Manor, and my wife bought me a smoker. And we started having just kind of small backyard parties and inviting people, and they would come over and try our barbecue. And we were calling it Teddys BBQ at that point. So we would invite them, and they would come over. And then from there, it was all right. It was around 2015 that I got my first part-time job working in barbecue, and I was working at a place in Austin called Cafe Mueller. It was a cafe and an H-E-B, and I was working there with a chef that was really renowned from Houston area. His name's Randy Evans, and he's kind of the culinary director for H-E-B. From there, H-E-B went on and opened a whole bunch of barbecue places, and their H-E-Bs around San Antonio, Houston. It's called True Texas BBQ.
Okay.
So after I left there, I went to a place called Friedmans, and when I was at Friedmans, I was working under a really known pitmaster. His name's Evan Leroy. He's got his own food truck now and everything. He's got tons of accolades and all that. And I was working there at Friedmans for about a year or so before I left, and my wife had our son. But while I was working there at Friedmans, we were able to get a top 50 recognition from Texas Monthly in 2017. Nice. So that was really cool. And for that was my first place that I worked at where I could say I helped accomplish something.
Right.
Yeah. So from there I left because my wife was about to have our son in 2017, and I kind of just started doing little driveway pop-ups. People would come over to my house, and I would sell them a plate here or there. We from there, I got the grand idea of I want to work full-time in barbecue. And I went to the guys at Terry Black's, which is another top 50 joint there in Austin. And I told them, I'm ready to jump into this full time. And they were, gracefully accepted me. So I worked the overnight shift there for about a year as well. And from there, last year, I moved back down to the valley because we wanted to be close to family, and we basically just moved back down with the intention of opening this restaurant, and that didn't happen. There were certain things that stopped us, but we got in connections with the owner of what is now Smoke and Moon, and kind of helped them open up their place before we opened up Teddys BBQ.
So that's where we are now. So, so talk to me. Obviously, you've been eating barbecue for a very long time. Which one has been your favorite?
You know, there's not like a favorite like joint that I go to that like does everything well. I think there's like different places that do like a couple things well.
So your perfect plate, what does it look like?
A perfect plate, yeah. Let me build it up. So it's got Micklethwait craft meats. They do these jalapeno cheese grits. You know, that's some really good stuff. And then Truth Barbecue, they do really good. What is it called? Corn pudding.
Okay.
Yeah. So Micklethwait craft meats grits, Truth Barbecue corn pudding. I would say Law Barbecue ribs. And then obviously Franklin brisket.
Nice.
Yeah.
I still have yet to have Franklin. So when I was in Austin, I always see the line, and that's like the one thing that just turns me completely off. I was like, damn it, man, I don't want to wait. How long is that wait?
Man, I think
on a good day.
On a good day, it's probably like 6-7 hours.
Damn.
Yeah, people get there and they're like at 6 a.m.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think one time, me and my friend, I think this was back in like 2013. We went and got there at like 5 a.m. and we were second in line.
Shit.
So, but then, you know, the place doesn't open until 11, so
right.
You're there waiting the
so
whole time.
What is it about that barbecue that makes it so, I guess, why are people waiting so damn long?
You know, I don't know if it's hype, like throughout the years that it's been good, but it's just consistent.
Okay.
You know, it's as good on Tuesday when you get it as it is on Sunday, and you can go in January and get the same barbecue in December. So
interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing, like, I'm assuming in a barbecue joint, they come up with a recipe, right? And then that's it. Like, it stays that way forever.
Yeah, I mean they're doing the same thing. Well, obviously they tweak certain things to cook barbecue better over the years, but I'm pretty sure they're seasoning with the same thing that they started with, you know, in 2009 or whenever it was, and they're probably, you know, well, the smokers have improved a little bit, but as far as like the recipes, yeah, they pretty much stay the same.
I feel like, and let me know if I'm wrong, but people in your industry that are pit masters, once they find something that works, they just stay with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably correct. I think I'm always kind of just tweaking like little things here and there that people won't notice, as far as like the cooking the product, but
right.
Like the way we're seasoning, the way that we're like wrapping and all that stuff, and what we're saucing with and all that, it stays the same because people will notice those changes real quick.
No, definitely, and I feel like you build up that fan base based off of those flavors. And
yeah,
people expect that. So, a thing I was going to ask you is how much. Obviously, you've worked in these industries where they have some good accolades. They come out on Texas Monthly, right? How many of them you've been a part of?
I've been a part of at least 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, other pit masters in the industry, what do they look like to other pit masters? Like, because I'm assuming, like, in my world, right, we look at marketing, like, these guys have certifications, stuff like that, so we put them on a higher pedestal, right?
Yeah.
What does that look like in your industry?
I think years in the industry is what people look at. Obviously, accolades from Texas Monthly, you know, Southern Living puts out a list every year. There's just all kinds of lists and accolades that people get. But even just like good reviews from like local bloggers and like just stuff like that I look for in a place when I'm visiting. But not only that, it's just like word of mouth, like, is the most important thing. And if someone tells me, like, you know, this guy's really good, like, you should go try his stuff, then I'm gonna do it.
Right. So this industry, barbecue, brisket specifically, is pretty expensive.
Yeah.
How do you differentiate? Well, I guess my thing is like, well, obviously I run a bunch of restaurants, right? So I read the reviews, and one of the most things is like, it's too expensive, it's too much, and they don't want to go.
Yeah.
How do you justify that versus going to a Burger King or Subway and getting a $6 sub versus a...
I think what people don't understand is probably like the process behind it.
So touch on the process then.
So basically, when we get a brisket, let's say it weighs between 15 and 17 pounds. After we trim it, we trim a certain way so that it cooks a certain way. Every little inch of the brisket has to get a certain amount of smoke. It has to get a certain amount of rub on everything, so that way it's seasoned correctly. So after we trim, you're left with probably about maybe like a 14-pound brisket, maybe even 12. So you're losing already about 5 pounds.
Okay.
Right. So it's between 3 and 5 pounds. After it cooks, it loses half of its weight.
Oh, damn.
So because what people don't understand is a brisket is almost 50% fat, like intramuscular like fat.
Mm-hmm.
So when it cooks, it loses a lot of fat, and that's what makes it juicy and fatty. So after it's cooked, you're left with a product that's maybe like 7 pounds. So you start with a product that's like 17 pounds, and you're left with a product that's 7 pounds. So that's why sometimes you have to price things a certain way. And when your price of brisket keeps going up because chains like Subway and Arby's are buying up a bunch of brisket to feed their stores, that's why you have to sell it at $20, $21 a pound. Not only that, but the labor behind it. It takes at least 12 to 14 hours to cook a brisket, at least the way that we cook it.
What's a standard length of time of cooking a brisket?
It's about, some people say like about an hour per pound, something like that. Just depending on the temperature that you're cooking at.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. We were talking about the price per pound. I was talking to the owner of Barbecuity, and he was telling me that last year prices skyrocketed for brisket.
Yeah.
And the reason was because like Subway was introducing like the brisket sandwiches and stuff like that, and he was telling me that he paid so much extra in brisket prices. When he did the calculation, it was $160,000 that he could have made in his pocket that year.
Oh,
but the prices just skyrocketed. He's like, what do I do?
Yeah.
But he said he doesn't have the luxury of changing prices because y'all can change prices anytime, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So he has to have a set price. He's like, he's screwed, man.
Yeah.
But coming from an industry like Barbecuity, is that a goal for pit masters that start up their own place to like become a big franchise, or is it more of like a passion type of thing where you want to be in your business, you want to work in your business, you want to walk out of there with that smoky smell and stuff like that?
Yeah, I don't think it's the goal here is not to make 5-6 stores or anything like that. The goal here for me is just I want to show what I can do because I'm passionate about it.
Right.
And I think that's mostly what a lot of people go into. I mean, Franklin could easily make 6-7 stores across the country if you wanted to, but like he tells you, it's hard to keep the product consistent.
Right.
And as you grow and as you make more stores and franchise out and everything, I think it gets difficult to kind of duplicate what you're doing here.
So in an ideal world, if you were to copy this Teddys BBQ, right, and have it in 5 different places, how would you create consistency across those 5?
I think I would have to divide myself in 5 or something, man.
I feel like that's a lot of people are specialized in a lot of skills, right? So for me, example, like I like things a certain way, and I know I can do them pretty quick. I'm sure you're exactly the same way. You know your business, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's very hard for me to be like, all right, well, let me get somebody on board and teach you, and then I'll be hovering over you and make sure you're doing it right. That's the hard part to take away the reins.
No, I think that and like I said, I worked at Smoke and Moon for a little bit, and that was kind of the challenge there too, like trying to teach people how to do it, especially when they come from, they've worked in kitchens before and they've worked in other restaurants, but with barbecue, it's a lot different in a sense that, you know why you do certain things a certain way, and it's hard to explain it to people sometimes.
So explain to me one of those hard things to do that would be a hard thing to explain to somebody.
Like wrapping a brisket, I would tell them, let's wrap it when the bark sets right. Let's wrap it when it looks like, it's got enough color or stuff like that. And sometimes it was hard for them to kind of get to that point.
Right. And I feel like it's a lot of here in the valley, it's a regular outdoor barbecue or cooking over an open flame, so nobody really knows how to cook good barbecue.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way that we were taught up there in Central Texas, it was like, they just kind of threw us on, and they were like, this is what we want the end product to look like, and this person's going to teach you how to execute it. But at the end of the day, like, it's your feel.
Right.
Everything was pulled off by feel. No, we didn't probe anything. We didn't everything. We were hands on.
Interesting. So you can touch it and you can feel the bounce back, stuff like that. Interesting. So coming from the barbecue background, well, actually, no. So you came from political background, and then you were talking about, what was your degree in?
My degree was in environmental science.
So you touched on that a little bit.
Yeah.
So why barbecue?
I don't know. Like I said, I think I was always gravitated towards cooking, and even in college, man, I worked like 2 or 3 jobs, and 2 of those were like working in a kitchen.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, I was always cooking at home, and people were like, you should go to culinary school after you graduate college. I said, that'd be a waste of time. Yeah. So, but after I moved to Austin, it kind of became more of a reality that I should kind of work in a kitchen, because Austin's like a super culinary diverse city.
Right.
And during that time, it was when barbecue was kind of coming up, and it'd been like 4 years since Aaron Franklin had opened his trailer. So I was like, I think this is one of the things I want to go into, and I pursued it, and it worked out.
Do you think that everybody should go to college to pursue the education that they I guess are born? Obviously, when you're growing up, everybody tells you need college, you need to do this, you need to go there. Yeah. Do you feel like everybody should go to college and pursue that, or do you feel like they should pursue their passion, or a little bit of both, or something?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people should quit a good job if they have it and pursue their passion. I listen to Gary Vee a lot. I don't know if you listen to Gary Vee, but he's always talking about how you don't need college, and how he's always said if there's something that you're passionate about, go and do it, and this and that. Just be happy. And I think that at the end of the day, that's kind of what I was doing, was just trying to be happy. I was in a point in my life where I was working a desk job, always getting yelled at over the phone, and kind of just bosses on top of you, get your stuff done and this and that. And I didn't want to, be in that environment anymore. So I just decided to take that jump. And,
interesting.
I just did what was better for me. It wasn't necessarily better for my family, because obviously it was taking a pay cut, losing benefits, stuff like that. But for my mental health and for my work-life balance, it worked out better.
So how do you balance that? Because obviously I'm married, I have children as well. So when I was coming out of, my dad owns a Dairy Queen and Mercedes. Mm-hmm. So when I was switching jobs, it was 30. I was like, you know what? I would look out the window every day, and I would be I never had a lunch break anywhere else. Mm-hmm. So I was like, fuck, man, I wonder what it's like out there. So when I started doing stuff on my own, I think it's worse now, because I eat on the way to the next place, so I really don't have any lunch break, right?
Yeah.
But how was it with that leap coming from the family perspective? Because my wife was like, well, what are you doing? Why are you leaving a job that you already have secure? You're going to own it one day. What are you doing? Mm-hmm. How was that conversation with your family?
Well, it was kind of hard, breaking it to my parents, hey, I'm going to leave my salary job that has benefits, you know what I mean? It was kind of hard when I was talking with them. And when I told my wife, I was we're going to have less money. We're going to I'm probably gonna like be a little bit more tired, but I'm gonna be happy, and that's what matters to me. And she was super supportive. I mean, my wife Bernardina, she like, you know, she was like, just do it. You know what I mean? I've been telling you for years, like, this is what you want to do, just do it. Like, I'm not gonna judge you. Like, I know, like, we just had our son, but you know, we're gonna work through it. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna find a way. We have to find a way. Like, this is what you want to do. And my parents, you know, too. You know, I mean, they were like, well, you know, I think you'll be okay, mijo. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, it was kind of a hard jump to take because we owned a home. You know, we had a couple cars. We had, you know, just stuff that like that we had accumulated and over the years, and it was just, you know, it was hard to kind of take that pay cut. But everybody was super supportive, and they kind of knew like where I wanted to go with it. So they were like, yeah, if this is what you want to do, just do it.
Yeah. So you had a vision for the future, of course.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I had a podcast with Claire the other day, and she's a 20-year-old Gen Zer, and she's going to UTRGV, and you touched on mental health. She touched on mental health, but from a Gen Zer mind frame, right? So you're a millennial, right? How old are you?
28.
So you're 28 years old, and you already understand mental health, or you understand some type of self-awareness.
Yeah.
I'm trying to talk about this more to make it less taboo, because I feel I've been seeing a lot of like suicides. A lot of people just have negative connotations about everything, right? So how do you I guess how do you introduce mental health for yourself? Because you touched on that.
Yeah.
But then how do you teach mental health, or do you teach it to people to be a little bit more self-aware?
Yeah, no, I mean, I try to show my brother, who's a lot younger than me, you know, I mean, like, that all that matters is happiness, and all that matters is that you're okay, inside and outside, you know what I mean, like, because one of the things that like we kind of went through together was when he was going to culinary school up in Austin, and he was working alongside me. We were working at Friedmans at a barbecue place, and he was going through kind of some homesickness, I think it was, and maybe just, I don't know. He was kind of sad, and but it was mostly because, you know, he was going to school, and after going to school, he was going to work. So he didn't really have any time to like socialize and do stuff like that. And he wanted to come back home, and I said, you know what, like, finish out your degree, like, and then go back home. Like, if that's where you want to be, like, just do it. You know what I mean? Like, and don't think about it twice. Like, you know what I mean? Because I think he was kind of worried that we were trying to build up this business, and I think the plan was to like build it up in Austin, where we were living in Manor, which was kind of like one of the suburbs, and try to open up there, but it didn't work out, and at that point, you know, I was worried about my brother, and I was like, you know, just go home. If that's what you need to do, just go home. And that's one of the things I still try to teach him, and even my wife too, because in the past year, like, she switched jobs from district to district, and I said, you know, if you need to leave your job, like, that's fine. Like, if you need to, you know, quit halfway through, like, just do whatever you need to do. You know what I mean? Whatever she needed to do was important. If she needed to leave her job, like, in the middle of the semester or whatever, for her to do it, because I went through a slight like depression when I was kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. When I was working in a political office, I was going to work and kind of just going home and going to sleep. And my wife noticed it real quick, and she was like, "You need to do something with your life, other than, like, you know, working in this office." And that's when I said, you know what, I think I want to get this part-time job in barbecue, because that's going to keep me busy. It's going to keep me like kind of slightly happy with me pursuing this. So I kind of had this breakthrough without having to have like any sort of like medication or anything like that. So
right, so it's more following your passion, but you kind of already knew what you wanted to do, you just weren't doing it.
Yeah, and I thought it was because something was like holding me back, or like I just needed to spend more time with my wife or this and that. But she was like, no, like she understands like the whole like mental health aspect of it. It's like, just do what you need to do to make yourself happy.
I feel like a lot of people in this area, actually, they feel like mental health, like whatever, we're really machismo, we're really prideful. So they kind of just like throw it under the rug and stuff like that. But I feel it's a super important topic to talk about, because I think at some point in everybody's life, you go through those up and downs, and it's like, who do you talk to? Who do you go after? And for your case, you had your wife with you, so you had that support. But a lot of people don't have that support. So I guess if you were to tell somebody some advice about if they're going through depression or some hard times, what would you tell them?
I would say just keep on going through. You know what I mean? Like it gets better. You know, if you find a certain thing that you like to do, or that you like, that you want to pursue, just do it. You know what I mean? Like if there's something holding you back financially or just stuff like that, there's always resources out there that'll help you out, like to get through a certain like point in your life. There's always someone out there willing to help. Just talk to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are extroverted or introverted, and a lot of people struggle having those conversations with people. So I feel like, you just need to do it. Just do it and get out there. Yeah,
for me, I mean, I was fortunate when I was in college. I kind of went through like another thing where I was like kind of afraid like of the next step, because I was getting ready to graduate, and I was like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. Like, and I had to go talk to a counselor, and I was just like, let it all out. And it was hard, because, at whenever you're growing up down here, they teach you like, men don't cry, like grown men don't cry, this and that. And I found myself like, with a random stranger, just like crying my eyes out, like just like talking to them about like how I've gone through college, and like how I got through it so quick, and like how I felt like I didn't have time to like have fun because I needed to get my degree so that I could like support my family and like help them out and like help myself out. And, like, it was just, I don't know. It was a time.
How did you take that step? Because I feel like a lot of people, they literally will not go and seek out somebody just to talk to, even if it's a stranger, right? They're obviously schooled for that to be able to talk to you. But I feel like a lot of people won't make that leap to go and actually pick up the phone and call somebody to actually just talk.
Yeah. It was just, I think there was people that noticed, like people around me that noticed like, hey man, there's something like, you're not okay. Like, you haven't been yourself, like this and that. And they started talking to me, and they're like, like it's all right to talk to somebody about this. And it was just kind of like a support system there at A&M, where people looked out for each other.
Okay.
And, but I mean, if there's somebody like, I don't know, afraid to talk to someone, like, I don't know, like you don't even have to show up in person or anything like that. There's hotlines that you can call. Like if you're, suicidal or in depression or have anxiety or something like that, there's always someone you can call on the phone, or I think maybe even text.
That's interesting that those services are out there. I feel like a lot of kids now that are growing up in this world where it's social media first, and these are your best pictures that this is your best life on social media, which isn't true. I mean, I feel like they're growing up in this fake world. They're getting a fake, I guess, perception of how reality really is. So when they actually go out into the workplace, they get their teeth kicked in and like, shit, man, like, now what? How do I deal with this? They never taught me that stuff. So I feel like it's really important to have these type of conversations, because I just joined TikTok. So TikTok, I started using it yesterday, and the algorithm's really new. So it's like when Facebook was first starting. So the organic reach is crazy. So I got a bunch of views on my first few videos. I was like, this is interesting. So then I started seeing the people that were following me. I was like a little boy, dude. I was like, all right, so it could be really weird that a 38-year-old man is on this platform, or I can use it for motivational and positivity type of style, right? So I'm gonna go that route on TikTok. I feel like when you're in business, it's really boring and whatever, right? But I'm trying to make it fun in the TikTok world, right? But then I saw another dude, big old white beard, older man, and he had like 240,000 followers. Just
wow.
doing stupid stuff, and I was like, I don't want to do stupid stuff. I'd rather do some type of motivational or positivity stuff, because I'm seeing like these are little kids, dude. Like they're looking at us act like dumbasses. I mean, there has to be a better way. So I'm approaching it from a motivational and positive standpoint, but the business sense. But I feel like I want to jump into social media now. Where have you seen digital media, social media go for the past few years, especially with like in your industry, in the barbecue world?
In the barbecue world, like Instagram is huge. Like I think that's one of the things like people fail to understand. Like barbecue, like there's so many people that connect with each other on Instagram, just because like it's hard to share like, oh, this barbecue looks really good on Facebook.
Right.
And I think Instagram, like, it's super easy just to take a picture, share it on there, and just, rack up likes, and it's easy to reach a lot of people if you put the certain like hashtags and stuff like that everybody follows. So that's where people kind of gravitate to when they first like you jump into the barbecue like world.
That's interesting. So your heroes, or I guess your buddies here in the Rio Grande Valley versus Austin, completely different cooking styles, or is it even different cooking styles within the regions?
Yeah, I mean, everybody in different regions cooks differently, man. I mean, everybody's using sort of different pits. Over in East Texas, you'll find that they're cooking with a lot of like hickory. West Texas, you find that they're cooking with a lot of mesquite. Even down here in South Texas, they cook with a lot of mesquite. In Central Texas, you find a lot of oak, post oak to be exact. So everybody's kind of using different styles of cooking as well. Sometimes you'll find people cooking direct heat, which is just kind of like over coals. Sometimes you'll find people just cooking like on offsets. Some people have like automatic rotisseries and stuff like that.
Can you taste the difference between each
sure.
style?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can taste the difference when it's cooked with a different wood. You can taste the difference when someone wrapped it in foil or someone wrapped it in paper.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So it just develops like a different bark. It develops a different flavor. Like sometimes it tastes kind of like roast beef, or like, I'm talking about brisket to be exact. But like in East Texas, they have like kind of super sweet sauces and glazes that they put on like some of the ribs and stuff like that. And West Texas, you'll find like just different cuts that they use up there. So
a while back when I was looking at barbecue stuff, the Traeger grill, right? Or what is it?
Yeah, the Traeger.
So they were saying that's not real barbecue, it's fake barbecue. Is that like an internal thing in your barbecue world?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of people that are like against like trying to use something that's just kind of automatic or stuff like that. But in my opinion, like barbecue's barbecue. Like whichever way you do it, like, if that's what you consider barbecue, like, well then that's great. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not super judgy, or if I don't like something, I'm not like gonna put it out there or anything like that. But if that's the easiest way for someone to do it, then all praise to them. But there's not I don't think a correct way to do barbecue. Like the way that we do barbecue is just the best way that we know how to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you feel like anybody can become a perfection? Well, not a perfectionist. Do you feel like anybody can get to a certain level in barbecue just like right away, maybe 6 months out?
No, I don't think so. I think it takes time. Like with everything, I mean, it takes time. You gotta cook a certain amount of barbecue in order to like figure out like, oh, this is a good like tenderness. This is a good like amount of smoke and stuff like that. There's so many variables, like just depending on where you live or where you're sourcing wood from or what kind of smoker you're using. Like there's so many variables. Like
interesting.
You can just, I don't know. To me, I can never like be happy with just one certain thing. Like I'm always trying to improve on little things here and there, or trying to do something a little bit better.
What's been your biggest struggle so far coming up to now?
Coming up to now is just kind of being patient, man. You know what I mean? It's hard when you're working at a barbecue restaurant and like you're the lowest of the low. Like you don't know anything, and people are like trying to show you like how to cook ribs or do this or do that, and or how to even build a fire, because there's different ways to build a fire on a certain pit and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's just been the struggle, like just trying to be patient with the process.
Where do you see yourself in the next year?
The next year, hopefully, like, this place has kind of expanded, hopefully kind of grown. Our presence in the South Texas like barbecue scene has grown. We don't have any plans to like try to make another location or anything like that within our first year. We're just trying to grow this place. We're trying to make it to where we're one of the better places in the valley, and hopefully make the top 50 list whenever the next one comes out.
Nice. I feel like a lot of people in your industry that I follow here in the valley, guys that are making some really good barbecue, there's really there's an ego, but there's not an ego, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Like, what is it knowing these guys in the valley that are producing these type of really good barbecue?
I mean, I think everybody just, I don't know. Like, when I first moved down here, I thought everybody was kind of like, I don't want to say like an asshole, but you know what I mean? Like they're like you said, there's kind of still an ego there. Everybody's in competition with each other. Like everybody just kind of feels like, if somebody comes onto the scene, like, oh, that's bad for us.
Right.
And in my opinion, I think competition is good for everybody. I think it makes everybody better. But knowing some of the guys now that over the year, like that I've been back here, that I've come to, know personally, like super humble people, like really nice guys. Fred Robles, to name one. He just won the American Royal, and
I saw that.
He's the owner of Real Valley Meat here in Weslaco. So, one of the nicest guys. Like,
that's awesome.
that you'll ever meet, dude. Like he comes in here at least once a week, and
nice.
He's a really cool dude. BBQ Rich, who has thousands of followers on Instagram, and all he does is barbecue all the time. Is also really cool dude. Yeah.
So what does that look like when y'all, let's just say hypothetically, y'all get together and join each other at a barbecue?
Yeah.
Who's cooking?
I think everybody's cooking at some point. I mean, I don't know if you know South Texas Outdoor Kitchens in San Juan. One of my buddies, Danny, he has a pop-up there every now and then, and everyone just kind of always gets together, and we're always cooking kind of something on the side, a snack or something here or there. But he sells barbecue there as well to some of his clients there in the area.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So obviously we talked about what you plan on doing in the next year. What does your 5-year plan look like, or what is your long-term goal look like versus after this first year?
Yeah, long-term goal I think would probably maybe be a second location. If not, if not that, then we'll try to go maybe outside of the valley with this concept. I think by then, hopefully, my brother and my wife and everything will kind of take the reins here, and I can go off and do something else. But we have other concepts in the works.
Okay.
That we're working on, not barbecue related.
Okay.
So, but still in the food and
awesome.
Hospitality industry.
Years ago, I had a buddy, and he made some really good brisket, and I had the idea of it was Damn Good Meat. That was the name that was called, right?
Yeah.
And it was gonna be vacuum sealed briskets that we sold to HEBs, or we tried to sell to HEBs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it just never got off the ground. Is that a hard concept to do? Because I'm assuming you have it on there for 14 hours, right?
Yeah.
You gotta let it cool, then vacuum pack it. Does it lose the flavor? Does it lose the moisture? How does it?
No, I mean, there's been a lot of, I mean, it's one of the things that's common in Austin, at Franklin, or even at Terry Black's where I used to work. They used to vac seal briskets and sell them frozen.
Okay.
So you can do it. I mean, we could do it out of here if we wanted to, but to mass produce it, like to sell it to an HEB. Like you're talking about, they have hundreds of stores all over Texas. Yeah. So that's that would be something kind of crazy. Even just here in the Valley, like to distribute that here, like you would have to cook a lot of brisket, man.
What would that look like?
I think kind of the operation that like Smoke and Moon has in place times like 3 or 4. You know what I mean? Like you probably have to be cooking constantly, like chilling briskets, vacuum sealing. Like it would be basically like a factory where you just cook brisket. Yeah.
Then that would be hard because of the sheer time it takes to cook a brisket. Period, right?
Yeah, for sure. You'd have to build up some inventory before you tried like to distribute it.
I assume it would cost a ton of money.
Yeah.
But that would be interesting to see.
And that's why some places just do it out of their place, like because even just like because I think Terry Black's at some point had barbecue sauce in an HEB, and they had to go off and find a bottler and like give them a recipe and say like reproduce this. And then there was several times where they had to like retest the recipe or like redo it a certain way or like get it to a certain like cost because that's also important to make money. So that's one of the things that they went through. So
my buddy Lamar Jones, he actually has the Jenk. Have you tasted that?
Yeah. He's from here.
He's from Weslaco. Weslaco native. He's a super cool guy. We actually have the same birthday. But I always run into him, and we always have this plan of working together. We just never work together. But it's gonna happen one day. But I find that like these people that like you and Lamar, you're doing these things, and I feel it's super important just to get out there and just do it because everybody always talks about, well, I'm gonna do this one day. I'm gonna do this one day, and it never happens, and then it just keeps year after year after year keeps coming. And nothing ever happens. So how important is it to be able to take that leap of faith and then just do it? Yeah,
I know. I think I've said it in the past that I didn't want to like live like with the what if, like what if I had done this or what if I had done that or whatever. And it's something that I liked, something that I pursued like a passion like grew over the years, and it's something that I couldn't like let go of. Like I wanted to be doing this all the time. Like I wanted to, even when I was working in an office, like I was like, I can't wait to get out of here and just go and work at the barbecue place. Like, so it's important, man. Like, just take a chance on yourself, and just do it. Like, you know what I mean? It's not pretty. Like the build up to it, like you're going to go through like a lot of struggles and like, even with this place, man, I mean, we took us like 2.5 months to flip it, which it was already a barbecue joint. So it wasn't a hard transition. But even then, I mean, we still went through some stuff like, maxing out credit cards and trying to get a food service distributor and just stuff like that you don't think like is going to be difficult. But you end up like, just like throwing a bunch of money into just to like pursue your passion, pursue your dream. But at the end of the day, it like ends up paying off because people see that passion through your food. Right. So if you were to give a young guy that some heads up right now, so he wants to build a barbecue business as well. Mm-hmm. What does that look like? So does he work for a barbecue industry for 5 years and then start and then go that route, or? Yeah, I mean, it doesn't always happen this fast for everybody. Like, I think it happened really fast for us because we came to a region where, like, this was, like, unfamiliar to some people. Mm-hmm. So we were cooking up in Central Texas and trying to bring it down here, and people hadn't seen that style before. So I think that's kind of what kind of, I guess, helped us along the way and helped us get this place open like really quick, because it just happened. Like, I worked in the industry maybe like 4 or 5 years, but I was also really lucky, like with the people that I met and the places that I got to work at, mm-hmm. and the people that I got to train under. But if somebody wanted to do this, like, I would say, don't just like jump at it and like straight from your backyard to like selling your barbecue. Like, go into the industry and like work. Like, learn it from people. Learn it from someone else that does it, and actually work in a restaurant, because running a restaurant is not as pretty as it looks. Like, I think Will Gadara, which owns like one of the top restaurants like in New York City, like said it best. Like he's like, it looks kind of like a fluttering swan, like on the outside, but on the inside, it's like like chaos. You know what I mean? There's always something breaking. There's always something that goes wrong. Like, so yeah, I mean, we do a good job at pretending that like everything is okay. When it really isn't.
It's like life.
Yeah. So go work in a restaurant. You know what I mean? Do that for a while and see if that's something that you really actually want to do. Because working in the industry is not pretty. It's long hours. It's tiring, especially barbecue, man. I mean, I'm here. I get here on Thursday at 3 a.m. and I leave probably like at 8 o'clock at night whenever the briskets come off. I go home, take a shower, go to sleep, and then I have to be back here at 3 a.m. because people expect the barbecue to be ready by 11 a.m. So,
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, it's long hours, dude. So, I mean, work in barbecue and actually work at a place like that does it like the old school way. So that when you do go work at a place that does it like new school style, like rotisserie, maybe like you appreciate that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny. So all the years in your cumulative years experience, right? What is the best piece of advice that you can give somebody or anybody?
The best piece of advice is to just do it. You know what I mean? Just go for it. If there's something that you really like or really want to do, just do it.
Joel, before we finish off the podcast, I want to make sure that everybody can find you. So where are you located? What do you offer?
Yeah, we're located here in Weslaco at 2807 North Texas Boulevard. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram at Teddys BBQ. And we're open Thursday through Sunday from 11 a.m. until we sell out. So we make a limited amount of food every day, and we sell out maybe like around 2:30, 3:30 every day.
Okay.
But yeah, we're here in Weslaco. Come check us out. We're making Central Texas style, like inspired barbecue. So we serve brisket, pork ribs. We make our own sausage in house. And then we also serve turkey, chicken. On Saturdays, we make the big like beef ribs.
Okay.
And then just like basic sides, mac and cheese, cream corn, potato salad, and pinto beans.
Awesome. Joel, I appreciate your time, brother, and wish you good luck, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Welcome to the Joshua Morales Podcast.